Kaspersky is a mission that they run in TMTM that inspired me to make a version of it on my own, where they basically take a VR map and they build a bunch of random crazy stuff on it, and your goal in that mission in TMTM is to basically act as antivirus software and disable a bunch of viruses in a joking fashion. But I've taken it as, in terms of my version of it, is to literally you go into the quote-unquote Arma server and restart the Arma server. So we have a Warthog run built into the mission. We have just a lot of other memes in that scenario. So it'll be a fun little, you know, welcoming back of my Zeusing back in Pog. And I know that they've, you know, had a little bit of tensions with some of the ops they've been doing. Ops went a little generic for them as well. So I want to give them something crazy, something fresh, you know, to bounce them back into how I like to do things. So that'll probably only be like an hour, hour and a half tops, which I think will be great. And then we have the TMTM op tonight, which I don't know what it's going to be. Might be a small chance I don't even play it because it's something I played in the past because they like to reuse ops, and there's some ops that I've already played in that community that I'd never want to play again because I just didn't enjoy it the first time around. That happened, I think, last week. The operation was a redo of something that I played in the past. It was, right, the Tanoan one. No, excuse me, the, whatchamacallit. That's the TFAR channel. All right, let me go ahead and switch that off real quick. I completely forgot we were listening to frickin' Siri voice.
User joined your channel.
Oh dear, so that's everyone getting moved to the whatchamacallit, the TFAR channel. Let me go ahead and disable that so we don't hear that anymore. My bad, I've missed that twice. But it was gosh, Temblin Island, that was it. Yeah, I did not enjoy that one mission because Air ended up team killing us multiple times towards the end, and I just didn't. I didn't want to deal with a situation like that again, but let me switch gears now. Oh yeah, and then after that we might have a dev stream, you know, TBA. I'll wait till it's closer in the night to see how I'm feeling, but I have a lot of crazy projects that I might show development of. Some that are closer than others, but I have a lot of things planned. But regardless, here we are. Again, Blue 4 is going to be the Venezuelan PMC forces here. Basically the local Blue 4 group. But otherwise, let's go ahead and have a look at their kits. We'll then look at their vehicles. We'll then look at Op Force kits and vehicles. And then I'll go over what their objectives are so you can make your most accurate prediction bet for channel points. And I am very, very close to releasing some new ways that you can spend those points to torture me. Because why else would you accumulate points? Just to let them sit there and to bet on. Yes, it's fun to bet, but it's also fun to use them to torture me in, you know, creative ways. So Blue 4 is going to be led by Lolo and Flip. Side note, please remind me after the 75-minute mark, so 75 plus 8 is 83. When we get to the 83-minute mark here, or around the 80-minute mark, please remind me to go check on Blue 4 because they said they have an Easter egg to show me if they make it to that amount of time. So it looks like Falcon is going to be the UN Consulate here that they're trying to defend, at least one of them. We'll get more into the objectives later, but he is also going to be the VIP that Op4 is trying to eliminate, so that's quite funny to see. He also gets a P90 for that.
The objective for the VIP is to be inside one of the two primary safe house at 45 minutes.
Hey, Dante.
Okay. One of the three secondary safe house at 70 minutes, and inside the consulate at the end of the mission. Okay. The idea is we try to take the safe house apartments, we take the Chinatown, but only if, in the end, if it's possible, we will go to the consulate, but I don't think it will be. Okay. Because it's too risky, because they get a lot of points if you die. That's the point.
I can just wander in the forest if they do somehow get to me.
They will try everything to kill you. You value 5 points tonight, so
yes.
pay attention.
Okay. What channel do you want me on?
Alright, I'm gonna keep that concealed just in case anyone's stream sniping. I doubt it because we have very strict rules and checks and balances in place for that, but I don't want anything to be spoiled. But regardless, so Falcon was almost not going to play tonight, but now he is, thankfully, because he misunderstood something that NASA, who helps run these operations, said to him, but he is now going to become the objective for the first operation, which I think is really, really cool. But otherwise, looking at the Venezuelan forces here, since we have 5 minutes remaining before they start, we have 5.56 rifles. I forget which these are called. They're like the RIS-21 or something. We also have some FAMASs, some version of that gun with a GL, but I believe they're 5.56 base rifles. We're seeing some M60s. But yes, Falcon is the UN guy. We got some FNFALs, which actually these might be 7.62 based rifles as well, based on the mag size. So it might just be up-armored FALs, but I've seen FAMASs as well. So it's a big mix of weaponry. We see some light AT. I believe that's the RBR from Gref. And then that's the SMA from RHS, USAF. But if you know that weapon, feel free to remind me what that is. But I believe that might actually be a 7.62 base gun. So a lot of AT here, which is a little worrisome for me. And it looks like they just shifted that out. They gave command the B90, and they gave him a scope. Wow, they're prepping Falcon for combat there. That's pretty funny. But otherwise, they have the, gosh, I forget the name of this, but it's an amphibious armor personnel carrier with a 50 cal and a 20mm grenade machine gun, or that might be a 40mm, but basically a boom machine gun. We've got a 249... 2 249, 3 249, 4 249 Humvees that are up-armored for the driver's seat. It does look like, yes, that's an AAVP-7, thank you. But yeah, no, that might be a 7.62 NATO in the mag, so it's definitely a 7.62 based rifle. And then we have multiple transport trucks with the little gun hatch on top so people can turn out and engage. Looking at the player base real quick, we got Kilo, Smiths, Doyle, and Cheeseburger operating as one of the groups. We've got FAWR taking 2 of those groups as well. Vix, Pingus, Timek, Skipu, Solak, Sayak, and Despo, who we also see in Friday Night Fights. We got the Czech guys in here, CSF, I believe they're Czech Republic. We got Pogo, Cali, Roland, Ezio, Barnos, and Barros, and Benares, and then 2 of the CSF guys commanding for Blue 4 as well, and Falcon being the HVT. So pretty powerful roster there. Though I will say by comparison, if I see these names here, that means I'm a little worried about what I'm gonna see in Op4, including the Ziki and Zixme combo. But let's go ahead and look at Op4 real quick just to get these predictions down and to help you guys make all of those decisions. So you've got Police, Gazes, an M134 minigun SUV. These are up-armored by default as well. But Wagner is usually a Russian-backed PMC, but I am seeing a mix. We got some M4s. We got some, oh my god, some AK-74 with NPZ rails to allow for... Actually, that's a Russian optic, but at least I think it is. But they might have NPZ rails to allow for Blue 4 scopes on them as well. We see some PKPs, SA-58s, some M136s. Big mix of weaponry here. But with all that heavy armor, I'm trying to see if they've got... Oh, okay, no, we also see some boats, some ribs with some 50 cals up front, some RPGs. Some VSSs, holy shit, okay. Interesting. And they're getting a little group photo here. Here, I'll put it like this so we can get the chat away. But a big mix of weaponry, mainly 5.45 and 5.56. We also see some SVDs, but they're taking the scopes off. Interesting. Interesting. And there's a 7.62 AKM over there. So yeah, Blue 4 have a transport APC, but Op 4 have a good mix of AT. I was expecting Op 4 to have a few more vehicles, but again, then again, that M134 SUV, I really hope we see that in action. That thing is a mess. But real quick, because it's about to start in 30 seconds, let's go over everything here. We have Flip for Flap and Ilbenek. Ilbenek is on the multi, by the way. They are going to be Op 4 command for Wagner. Going through the groups, we got Mr. White, Mulinix, Tackle Rizbo, Manchotes, who is head honcho for OFCRA. He's the guy that, leads the OFCRA community to run these events. Murdy, Foosh, and Andre here. Some good players in that mix. PHK, Kudaloo, Rick Hunter, Zixme. Zixme is important to note because him and Ziki, I would say, are some of the 2 best players, if not the 2 best players, within OFCRA. Jonathan, Sixor, Pierce, And yeah, Pierce from 1RW, interesting enough. And Seal William also in here. You got NASA, who's my liaison to these events, who lets me know when they're being run and what mod sets are being run, yada yada. With racist Parthius. His name is just Parthius, but he appears to have changed his name a little bit. Sky Online, Bob Winchester, Nubass, who I always like to root for. Elberg, Demovar, and Fonz from 1RW as well, also here. We got Rick Sab, Unknown, Nico, Alex, Lux, Shay. Shay is a very good player, by the way. Midway, Gregory, and Diablo. And then Brewer, not the 506 Brewer, but this Brewer is really, really good at OFCRA events, I would say. Kinu, excuse me, Slav, Maddie, Zicky, Adam X Settler, and Micus. And then you got Bluck, Rigel, Ivno, who I believe is also on the multi. Ezio, if I haven't mentioned him already, is also on the multi somewhere. And then for FAWR, Nanerd is also, I think it's Nanerd, it might be Nathan, I'm pretty sure it's Nanerd, is also on the multi. So we got a lot of ground POVs for you guys as well. Lemur, Koska, Back to the House Logic, Joda, Nor, also on Op4. I'd say Op4 has the slightly better roster. No offense to Blue 4, but we see a lot more of the seasoned heavy hitters, you know, Zicky, Zixme, Shay, Bob Winchester, just to name a few. But again, the difference between OFCRA Thursdays and Friday Night Fights Fridays is you see a lot more really capable PvPers in OFCRA compared to Friday Night Fights. No offense to the players of Friday Night Fights, but some of these people can be very, very deadly in CQC on their own, and that's what I'm basing it off of. Squad v squad, it lessens a little bit, but you have a lot more players in OFCRA who are more comfortable becoming lone wolves in these style of events. So I find that quite curious. We also see these arrows going over for bridges, and it looks like they're going to take that bridge. But let me explain the game for tonight. So there is a neutral objective, I believe worth 3 points, which is control of this position. Whoever owns this position by the end of the scenario gets 3 points. Op4 will get 5 points if they kill Falcon, who is that UN consulate. Blue 4 will get, I believe, 2 points for... it's either 2 points or 3 points or 3 points or 2 points. For having Falcon in the primary safe houses, either of the two, by a certain amount of time. Oh, that SUV. Okay, I thought it hurt itself there, because it looks like this is slightly elevated, so it might make it a little bit tougher to get there, but I think they're just delivering one guy. They have to have Falcon in one of these primary safe houses, and then one of the secondary safe houses after certain amounts of time passes. So Blue 4 has to basically fight through whatever ambushes Op4 provides to get him to those positions by those time values, and then end with him in the UN consulate position, which they already stated in the beginning that they're not going to aim for that final position. They're just going to aim to deliver him at those 2 points, and then survive to not forfeit the supremacy bonus. Which, by the way, the supremacy bonus is if Op4 kills all but 5 Blue 4 members, or Blue 4 kills all of 5 Op4 members, all of but 5 Op4 members, they gain, I believe, 2 points for their side. So again, to word it a little better, if Blue 4 kills everyone on Op4, but leaves 5 or less people alive, Blue 4 gains 2 points, and vice versa for Op4. Now you can see those exact point values in the exclamation point mission command on the link. And if you ever want to join OFCRA, you can just do exclamation point OFCRA. They do, I believe, take walk-ins, though I did hear that this campaign is a bit of an invite-only thing, so I'm going to have to message NASA about that. But I'm pretty sure you can do walk-ins. Just DM NASA once you get on there and say, hey, you saw this on Liru's Twitch. And I'm sure he'll work it out, because I'm pretty sure that's what we did for Falcon. Hopefully he won't hate me after that. Iceberg, so the differences between this event and FNF is, like, both are Arma 3 One Life PvP events. However, Friday Night Fights does 3 rounds of 50 minutes. OFCRA does 1 round of about an hour 30. So there's a lot more maneuvering. There's a lot more grand scale strategy in these types of events. And I will be honest, you probably won't see combat in the first 30 minutes unless either side goes for a rush play. But usually the commanders play really defensively, so the firefights towards the end get very, very messy. But yes, another major difference is OFCRA do tend to have more assets, more air assets, more ground assets, and also no restrictions on things like autocannons or grenade machine guns. So, for example, Blue 4 have an AAVP-7, which is going up the river right here, and it doesn't have its GMG restricted. That thing's GMG is fully capable, that grenade machine gun. So you get to play with a lot more of the fun things. Oh yeah, and they also have tows and rocket launchers like SPG-9s all the time as well. but it is a slower game. But I would say it's still fun. But I will say compared to FNF rounds, it can be a little more boring at times, but it can also be more action-packed at times because they have all those extra assets. So we already see the Ribs coming down the river here. I think these guys are going to try to set up to take that primary safe house while I have this other group setting up to defend the primary safe house here. And OFCRA, this is going to be really interesting to see where they set up their defensive lines to try to eliminate the UN Consulate here. Because there's a lot of different ways they could do this. They could spend all of the time securing the secondary safe houses, or they could try to rush to do the primary ones to eliminate the Consulate early. But let's look at Falcon. Where is he right now? He's all the way back there with Blue 4 Ground Command because they know they don't need to have him in the AO until a certain amount of time. So I think they're looking to secure one position to then be able to bring him in. So if I was OFCRA, that means they have two choices. They can either think that Blue 4 is bringing in the Consulate to a position immediately, or think that they're going to bring him in towards the end of the time. So does OFCRA go for trying to hold both positions, or trying to assault one and getting lucky, and then if they fail that, you know, re-attacking one position and whatnot? But this is an interesting type of AO. And there's a lot of different strategies OFCRA can do, but it looks like OFCRA is trying to, you know, put all eggs in one basket here. No, that's not the right way to put it. They're trying to take everything. So they've got one of the primary safe houses already secured. They got forces around the other safe house that they're trying to encircle. But they're playing a very balanced playthrough here of trying to do everything at once, and I don't think that's the best idea. Oh, man, there's just so many choices here. Because when you think about it, I mean, Blue 4 has to deliver Falcon to one of two positions, and then one of three positions, and then one final position. So as OFCRA, how do you attack that? Where do you attack that, and when do you attack that? If you kill Falcon, OFCRA basically is going to win if they kill Falcon, points-wise. It's very hard for Blue 4 to bounce back if the UN Consulate is eliminated. So knowing that, you know that Blue 4 is going to play very, very defensive with that Consulate and try to minimize the amount of time he is exposed and be able to be sniped. And then both of Blue 4's objectives only give them parts of that 5 points for the primary and secondary positions. So that gives OFCRA a lot of time to scout out where Blue 4 is probably going to deliver the Consulate, and then set up ambushes to either try to eliminate the Consulate going in and out of the AO, or just outright assault and hold both AOs. But I don't think that's a good idea, because if you strengthen one position, that's just going to push Blue 4 to go to the other position. So I would, as OFCRA's commander, spend some time, figure out where Blue 4 is going to set up to try to put the Consulate somewhere. Of course, have a small security team to the other position just in case it's a feint, but if you see a large amount of forces trying to go around one position, you can safely assume that's where Blue 4 is going to try to deliver the Consulate, and then I would just barricade that position. You know? Prevent the Consulate from getting in or getting out. Trap in Blue 4's major force, and then swiftly eliminate them or pick them off from a distance, or at least pin them down, and then hunker down the remaining positions, hold the UN, the final UN position, which is also worth points of itself, and then, you know, be able to patrol around the other secondary positions to prevent the Consulate from continuing to score. But if I was OFCRA, I probably wouldn't plan for a direct offense unless the opportunity presented itself. That is a Hunt IR round going up, so Blue 4 is going to start getting some scouting data. They might be able to see OFCRA moving up to this Blue 4 position. But same on Blue 4's side, I would send an advance team, hold the position, secure the route for the Consulate, bring the Consulate in, and then while that was going on, I'd probably start scouting the secondary positions and have a good idea of which secondary position I wanted to go to, and then rinse and repeat. And then hopefully my guys on the ground would be able to hold any OPFOR pushes that are made, because as the commander, you can have a solid plan, but if your team drops the ball and loses the PvP fights, there's not really anything you can do about that. But that is just some insight on what's going on. I'm a little surprised, though. We're at the 10-minute mark, and we're already starting to line up 2 different firefights here, possibly a third. It's really rare that you see early game PvP with an OFCRA. I divide OFCRA into 3 sections. Technically, there's the 4th of the first 8 or 10-minute safe start, and then you have the first 30 minutes, which I call the early game. The next 30 minutes are the mid game, and then the final 30 minutes are the end game. Usually, you see action start up in mid game, but this is going to be an early game scenario, which is going to just have more questions to be answered of who's going to win the early game fights, who's going to get the edge early on, and how is the team that loses the edge in the early game going to adapt and try to push back? Because I've learned from watching OFCRA for over a year, just because you lose the early game doesn't mean you are out of the fight. It's still a good 50-50 of if you're going to win or not. But you have to see some major adaptation in order to get that. But that also means that some forces are going to turn into lone wolves, and those lone wolves can get behind a single enemy squad and just completely annihilate them. I've seen it so many times in OFCRA. So we'll see how things go. How did Falcon end up being the HVT? You're going to have to ask Falcon. I don't know. Great pickoff by Ronald and Barrows there, taking out Bob Winchester's battle buddy in the open, but Blue4 have a pretty advantageous Overwatch position here, but you're hearing GLs going off over at this position as well, as we're seeing all of these small firefights starting up. Ooh, the truck goes off. That cuts off that FAWR group's ability to escape via vehicle. They're going to have to go on foot. Thankfully, OPFOR doesn't have another force here to encircle that small group, but I see OPFOR winning that firefight against 4 people. This fight, I think Blue4 is going to be able to hold out. This fight, I have no idea. They do have a vehicle. They have 2 vehicles there, but I believe these guys have a good chunk of AT. No, they have no AT. Ooh. We'll see how good their marksmanship is, but these are up-armored. And it looks like they've already been aggroed, and one... Ooh, he got picked off. So I need to now mute myself in TeamSpeak because people are starting to die, and when people die, you can hear them in the spectator channel, which I'm currently in because I turned my TFAR add-on on to be able to listen to their local comms like what we heard in the brief. So... these firefights, it could go either way, but OPFOR's taking some pretty nasty casualties here. I'd be curious to see if Bob Winchester's able to get up here and pick off these guys on the side, but Roland's a good player, Barrows is a good player, Ezio, who's on the multi, is a really good player. He might be outmatched, but the FAWR guys are getting picked off right here. They're reduced to 50% strength, doing their best to hold off, but that is way too many OPFOR for them to take on. They are starting to be flanked. And Nannard, who is on the multi, I think is going to be the first multi-death to go down. He's on the radio that got that sweet, sweet TFAR animations going, but I think a GL was just fired. I'm pretty sure that was a miss. And these Iranian OPFOR guys are making a push. They knocked the gunner out for that vehicle. They're doing a heavy infantry push here. GL knocks NASA to his feet by Timek. These 3 Blue4 guys are trying to flank that other vehicle. It's been avoided. Timek getting taken out by Demovar, doing a very aggressive infantry push, but Blue4, by pushing their force to flank, have allowed for OPFOR to do a massive infantry push, open this field, and basically clear this position, decisively taking it. Now these 3 Blue4 guys are out of position as OPFOR has been pushing. Though they haven't noticed, they were just shot on the rear by enemy forces. So Parth shooting up at Timek's body. Interesting ragdoll animation there. Looks like OPFOR's realizing Blue4's behind them now. Sky Online getting taken out. Nubas a little confused here. NASA also going prone because he was shot at, but now Blue4 is repeating OPFOR's push action. Nubas now getting into cover. NASA taken out from the rear by Vexen. And OPFOR, they heard those gunshots, but I think they assumed that it was just friendly forces behind them moving up because they didn't realize where they were in that formation. Nubas getting the great first shot there, but Despo shooting Nubas in the back. Blue4 still taking heavy casualties here as this fight is going to end up becoming kind of a stalemate as both sides just take heavy, heavy casualties. Nubas getting double tapped there. Sky Online is unlikely to wake up because he's been down for a little while. And meanwhile, these Blue4 groups, I don't know what they're doing. This OPFOR group's still been able to maneuver around. We still have Nannard alive, holding out the best he can. Little maneuvering being done elsewhere. Blue4 still has, both sides still have forces in reserve, but this early game fight seems to be favoring OPFOR because the other 2, well, as I say that, so we see an OPFOR guy get picked off. Another OPFOR guy picked off as well. I believe that was Timek. And you got this vehicle coming back around. Parth trying to put a GL on this up-armored Vic, but it starts suppressing him. Another GL goes off. That actually managed to kill the driver of the vehicle, because you don't see that +1 there anymore. Now he's trying to suppress. Parth trying to line up a shot through the window. Solak here doing his best to hold out. Starts firing again. Vex and Despo might try breaching, but these doorways are only open on that side. There are some windows. Maybe we could see Vex pop some grenades through. Looks like they're trying to look through instead to pick them off. And there's the pick-off. Sideways headshot by Vexen. And Blue 4 has officially cleared that position, but they took some pretty heavy casualties. Meanwhile, looking down over here, Op4 now down to 4 guys. They had like 6 or 7 last time I looked. But Blue 4 has just been picking them off. This is the other half of FAWR doing a great job of just picking off whoever's remaining over here on this Op4 side. Op4 were able to kill off Nannard, but they are now down. Looks like that group's only down to 1, but I think, nope, Facthouse and Bluck were also over there. So Op4 decisively won that fight with minimal casualties, but Blue 4 have decisively won that fight, though they took a pretty Pyrrhic victory there, losing more than 50% of their force there. But this force has been just stomping that Op4 group there. And right now, early game's starting to look in Blue 4's favor, but we have that M134 up-armored minigun SUV. And I say it's up-armored because it's the quote-unquote armored version, which means the glass is bulletproof. And that could stem the tide because the fire rate of that minigun, whew, it's gonna murder eardrums and murder anyone in its way. Ay, ay, ay.
Bring back thanks to the power of goats and hopefully to catch more streams.
There's my screaming goat for your work, War Boss. Thank you so much for the 10-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. I do hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Anyway, let me catch up with chat a little bit here. Let's go. It's been nice to... yeah, here I might come back on your next stream. Righto, Dreaded. Thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. Hydrate, of course. And Pete, thank you for dropping by. Not sure if you're still here, but I always appreciate people coming by from the YouTube videos. YouTube's been kicking my ass, and there's not really anything I can do about it at this point, so I've just resigned to the new upload strategy. It was doing well, and then it decided to drop off the face of the planet. So I think no matter what I do for YouTube right now, it's just in the rut. But at least the RPM's been going up, so I'm still able to partially live on that revenue stream. But hey, it just means that, you know, me doubling down on things like Pay for Pain and some other new projects I'm coming out with is a good call, especially the new DayZ project we're working on too. I think you guys are going to get a really nice kick out of all of that. But we'll go over all that stuff in an update video, which, you know, it is February. It's the 3rd day of February, actually. So I have to make one of those and release it hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Real pays it? Nice. I don't know. We'll explain all of that in time. I'm also a little behind on the Patreon updates, but that's because I've been tackling so many crazy things. And we'll just have to see how it goes. Came here from OnlyFans. I wish I was sexy enough to have an OnlyFans, but hey, maybe we'll do one where we just take all the Arma 3 models and we just make lewd pictures of them. I don't freaking know. Whatever makes money, right? All right, regardless, we got Callie, Roland, and Pogo underscore here. Picking off some units here. Gregory's gone down. They're trying to hit Settlers. Settlers trying to poke out to return fire. Look at Midway's also bandaging. Arma 3 cosplay OnlyFans. I looked into that. It would be very expensive to do something like that, but hey, you never know. Fluffer's just got a whole new career. I just heard someone get hit by a long-range shot. I think that was Adamek. But yeah, Blue 4's marksman team in the middle is not screwing around. We have another Op4 team coming in. That would be the guys from the 134 minigun SUV, which they're not going to field. Interesting. Did it get damaged? No, they actively chose not to bring it in. Interesting. I mean, okay, so this is a really heavy-hitting group. We've got Zixme, PHK, Jonathan, Rick Hunt. The only one that I haven't seen do anything is Cthulhu. But the other 4, I know for a fact, can wipe an entire squad by themselves if they're given the opportunity. The issue is, Blue 4 have some really good marksman players up here in the massive open field to work with. And I'd say Op4's marksmanship from these guys is about on par. Zixme does a little bit better when he's in CQC, but I also trust him to do really well in his marksmanship as well. But this one group is really going to keep things pinned. However, we do have Op4 bringing in 3 members over here. Looks like members of 1RW might try to reinforce this one group or deploy somewhere else to push in. As long as they keep harassing this Blue 4 group, they could prevent Falcon, the Consulate, from being sent in to secure this position, I believe at the 45-minute mark, which is only 27 minutes away. And yes, if you want to join in on OFCRA events, do ! OFCRA. That is a link to their Discord where they keep all their information. And if you have any further questions, I believe I can... I believe you won't be mad when I say this, but go talk to NASA, NASA. He is my liaison to these events, and you can ask him questions. And if he questions who you are, just say, you're from my stream. And, well, if he doesn't like it, he'll send me an angry message, and I'll deal with it. FAWR have lost one of their guys here. It looks like some counterfire from that OPFOR group as they're now blindly firing up here. I think misreading where these Blue 4 units are. Bob... not exposed, actually. Utilizing the defilade here to move into the open. We got Ivno, Rigel, and Lemur, 3 really good players there as well, squaring off with the remains of the FAWR group. Also, fun fact, don't call FAWR the Raris or the Furries. They get mad. Your OnlyFans account. Again, maybe one day as a joke. Maybe as an April Fool's thing. We'll see. I am looking up creative new ways to raise money for the Lcpl Liru Happy Face Foundation. It is the foundation dedicated to paying my mortgage. And then after that, maybe charity. Depends by then if Bloodwind wants to get a bigger house or not. But we're just having fun. Only Turtles account. Oh my god, Bror. So Bror thinks I'm a turtle. Fun facts. He's Ron. And, you know, my green robe, it's not a shell, it's an actual robe, you know, he might have seen some leaked pictures, but they're Ron, you know, don't worry about it. So, 1RW has made it, they're now starting to crawl in, I think they're doing that by choice, because he looks like nope, there we go. I was about to say, did he beach the boat and accidentally cripple his legs or something? Because I've seen crazier in Arma, but you never know. And now we got Benares. Part of this group, he is on his own checking the forested areas. These types of plays are really, really dangerous because one single guy getting behind a group of OPFOR, I've seen this happen time and time again in OFCRA, and they will wipe an entire squad pulling that tactic. They have to have a good reason to do it because something like that is not always allowed, but I think he's just sweeping here. And FAWR have decided to push OPFOR to try to find them as OPFOR has regrouped right here. They're all clustered together. A few well-placed GLs, if they are spotted, could be enough. And Blue 4 do have this nice little drop-off position to potentially utilize to take them out. That could be big. Otherwise, Blue 4 scouting out the other primary position and potentially going to move over to the secondary positions. They could also bypass the primaries and then go for the secondaries in the final position as well and still make enough points to score. Meanwhile, OPFOR are also holding bridges. They are thinking about boxing in Blue 4 and preventing them from leaving this area to get to these other two. Interesting, interesting, interesting. All right, I'm gonna... Oh. That's that ambush picked off here. A lot of grenades were just thrown by Bert there. You've got Gon's POV here. He's trying to find some targets, but he's also trying to keep his head down. He needs to be decisive on when he chooses to engage. He's got some... Oh, Bert on his radio gets headshotted there and knocked out. Great drop there by Gordy. Bert's body falling down the little bump a little bit. But we got Bob Winchester coming around. Will Gordy notice as Bob tries his flank? Meanwhile, FAWR losing a guy as Pierce is aggressively pushing. Gordy doing a nice flank here, trying to knock out Fonz, getting some hits, but otherwise not able to take him out. Fonz with that PKP, trying to suppress up there, but now you got Bob Winchester, might close the gap. He might not notice that Gordy's up here. Gordy is now planning a similar tactic. Spots Fonz, gets some more shots on him, but otherwise is unable to get the takedown. Bert just below him. If I was in his shoes, Gordy's, I would fall back even more and try to get right behind these guys. I'm really surprised Bert survived. Lemur getting picked off. Gordy utilizing the concealment here to get right back in the cover as Bob Winchester's now looking around. I think Gordy might have spotted him, but Blue 4 reinforced by Despo and Vexen running in to join this firefight. Guys from the northern sector coming in. Pierce winning that 1v1 against that FAWR member, but Blue 4 reinforcing. Vexen taking out Pierce. Bob Winchester also knocked out as Gordy is debating pulling back. He is wounded. We do see some blood going right there. But this OP4 reinforcement is actually being joined by more OP4 reinforcements as they try a more unified push. But with Blue 4 reinforcing, now it's a bit more of an even fight. But when those OP4 reinforcements arrive in about 60 to 90 seconds, I foresee Blue 4 getting pushed back here. But that's only going to go advantageous to Blue 4 because they have these really nice marksman positions. Another firefight between Vex, Despo, and Fawns here. Rigel trying to take the high ground. Gordy might try coming back. I think he gave a little bit of room to let Op4 push up, but now he could get back and flank this position again. I'm in denial, says Bror. Gordy, I think, was just hit by a suppressed shooter. I have no idea where that shot came from. It sounds like it came from over here, but no, I think Ivno got him. No, who has a suppressed gun? Because that might have been a VSS. I know Op4 has a few. I have no idea who hit Gordy there. And Gordy's now down. Bob Winchester wakes back up. And now Blue 4 are in a bit of trouble here because Op4 has the high ground on their flank. Rigel coming around, going low. Vex spots him, and is able to turn around that fight. Bob throwing a grenade down. Despo is knocked unconscious. And now it looks like this Op4 group might be able to get the advantage here because they have the high ground on this low ground that Blue 4 has pushed into. Because Gordy went down, was unable to secure that flank. We've got Vexen trying to desperately bandage. He took quite a few shots there. I think Bob is going to be up here bandaging as well, utilizing this heavy concealment he has right here. Good call. And then he still has this open area locked down. Vex is in trouble. Solak is back here. But this is going to be a massive Op4 group that might be able to overpower that Blue 4 marksman position. And this might bounce it back in the favor of Op4. They still have this force right here. Oh, some more heavy hitters in there. Ilbanek, for example, I saw Brewer in there. They could come in and just reinforce this Op4 group and completely lock this position down. Vexen trying to put some shots down range. I don't know if he was able to get a kill there. I wasn't paying attention. He might have, though. And Vex, you heard that quick double tap there. I think that was Bob getting a good shot there. Oh, no, it might have been Bert. It was Bert. Yeah. Good pick off there. Solak now trying to come in. He's got to be careful. He might end up in the same kill zone that's claimed Vex and Despo. But Bob Winchester has an opening here. Fires at Solak. Solak now immediately pulling back. If I was him, I would just pull back at this point. That area is too hot. And Outforce QRF have, reinforcements from the different side have started coming in. Solak trying to pop some smoke. Watching his east as he now pulls back. This is a one-life event, yes. So we're actually about to enter mid-game in 2 minutes. Actually, 1:15. So a lot has happened in the early game for this round. Quite a few deaths on both sides. It is looking to be a little bit in Op4's favor, but both sides still have a roughly even amount of forces. If anything, Op4 has slightly more. But that's also because Blue 4 they have all their forces deployed in really weird angles. What's also interesting is this Hunter team that I think is going to try to come on the rear of this Blue 4 position, but they might, if they keep driving around, find Blue 4 Consulate. Again, Falcon being the VIP here, hiding in the back of a truck. But I think these guys have eyes on that firefight position, so they're actively working with their squads to coordinate what's down here. So they'd see that guy on the beach right there. They see Solak right there as well. But they only have P90s because Falcon has that marksman rifle. A turtle would say he's in denial. Fucking Egyptian jokes. That's a good dad joke. I'll give you that one. Solak getting some shots on Settler here as he tries to stop this horde of Op4 forces coming in. Norton Nathan coming in on foot. Interesting. So I have to commend Solik for trying to hold this on his own. He's a medic, and he's I think the medics get the FAMASs. So he's only got a freaking red dot optic on that. But with all the smoke he's pushing, he's really obscuring OPFOR's vision here. Settler coming up. He's double tapping some of the bodies here. Despo got double tap. Vexen receives one double tap as well. More double taps from Gregory, but he's able to tank him. But yeah, he's not waking up. 134, Vic gets pulled back. Blue 4 and OPFOR, I think, are aware of each other's positions here and are actually engaging from range. However, that GMG can light up that tree line and do some pretty heavy damage to this OPFOR line. I think they're trying to look for positive identifications of these forces, which they might get in a second when this other group comes up as well. But that GMG could easily eliminate those two groups if given the proper angle and potentially turn this match around. Just because if OPFOR loses, wins this fight but loses this one heavily, that could give Blue 4 a definitive number advantage to win the match. Hey, Ivno was on the multi. Ivno, how are you doing? Do you got any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts about how that match went? Were you OPFOR? Or were you Blue 4? Nope, you were OPFOR, I was right. Yeah, so you were part of the original teams that went in to hit that position. But how was it for you, man? I'm surprised that we have a lot of early game combat. We just officially entered mid-game 2 minutes ago, and there's been a lot. Solik still playing his one-man holdout here. He's been decisively pulling back. But I want to see this GMG get some good action here. However, if OPFOR gets a nice eye on this position and gets their AT lined up, that could be devastating. So Io would have lived. What do you mean by that for the polls? It felt fast? Yeah, no, it was within the first 30 minutes that a lot of this happened, when there's still an hour to go. I'm waiting to see if that GMG gets a lineup here, but these trees are in the way. Looking back, Solik still holding that position. OPFOR dismounted. I'm just looking back here. I don't think Blue 4 knows that that group is coming up in addition to reinforce. Some 134 car has also come up to provide a supporting angle. I hope someone's in coordination with that, so if they see an AT launch, they'll be able to stop it, but, or at least drive away from it, but there's a lot of concealment in that tree line. Vexen did go down eventually, I think by someone else, though. No, it was a mess in that forest. I don't think any, for an AAVP 7, I don't think any small arms will penetrate this. Because, you know, some Vics, like an old BTR 60, they can get penned by bigger calibers, but... Like, for example, the door of some M113 models from RHS, the back door specifically, nowhere else, you can pen it with 5.56, 6.5, or 5.45 if you mag dump it enough. I don't know, penetration values are weird. I once mag dumped half of a 200 round box into an Mi-24 and actually killed the pilot and co-pilot and brought it down. But it took over 100 rounds of just like spontaneous fire because the chucklehead was auto hovering. Penetration. What's that with the funny jokes? Well, looks like OPFOR is pulling back because they realize the AAVP is back here, and that GMG could tear them apart in that tree line. So they're opting for the pullback. 134 minigun is also stationed over here. Blue 4 might decisively try to maneuver around over here. Ooh. This Vic pulling away. I don't know if they found the units over here. They're unaware, otherwise they'd be aggroing a little more. Falcon also hunkering down. That would be really funny if OPFOR found this position and ambushed them. We also have some fog starting to come on. Looks like, I forgot his name. Solek, yep, he just left. He was taken out in the tree line here as OPFOR pushed in. Now, OPFOR, they do have only 6 guys here, so I think Solek was able to get 1 or 2 kills before he DC'd. So this is going to be a 6-on-6, but Blue 4 have the high ground. Which I know we've been making some memes about it in chat, but hey, if you have elevation over your targets, it minimizes the angles of cover that the units in the low ground have, and you might be able to more easily pick them off, which is even more important because we've seen that these guys have had some magnified optics and they've been making some really good long-range engagements. They were engaging from up here all the way down to there and getting a few kills. So I think Blue 4 are in the better positions here. As I say that, Burt gets picked off by a suppressed rifle. That was Ezio. Again, he is on the multi. He's got a suppressed Scar with, I think that's an MGO sight. Is that an MGO? Which it's meant to be a spotting. Yeah, he's got the freaking spotting sight for machine guns, and he's using that to pick people off. Oh, that's funny. So as you can see, like some of these mill dot lines, they don't have any specific area in the middle for a dot because these are meant to be suppressive weapons for machine guns to suppress like barns and stuff, not actual marksman sights. So I find that really funny that he is making headshots with this gun with a suppressing sight rather than an actual marksman sight. He's firing more into that smoke. I think he's doing it blindly just to harass him because we're seeing him shoot left and right all around this thing. But yeah, just to freak him out. It's a good call. What caliber do I need to penetrate your shop? Roar. Don't make me get the bonks we have for Barbarian just for you, buddy. Because I will. Improvise, adapt, overcome, exactly. But some of the crazy little strategies you see people do in PvP, or PvE in general, I always find quite fascinating. So yeah, people like Ezio up here that are able to do some great pickoffs. I mean, all of the players up here I've seen do something amazing. Yeah, no, Barros, Ezio, Roland, Pogo _ Benares, and Cali S. They've all done something pretty good in OFCRA, so that's a tough group to beat. And they've got some magnified optics, and they know where OPFOR is at the moment. And they have the high ground. Honestly, OPFOR is just doing a lot of smoke plays. I think they should get the 1-3-4 group if they really want to take this position. Hold up, the other Vic, they've been ordered back. I think they're going to try to flank this one position here. OPFOR moving some forces up. They're going to be pinned here. It's PHK, Zixme, and Kudaloo. I don't know too much about Kudaloo, but the other two are really, really good. Oh, they're trying to snipe the 1-3-4 Vic with that 50. This Vic could probably survive 150 cal to the glass before it gets broken and penetratable, but I actually am unaware how many 50 cal shots that glass can take before it starts penning, but I think it's only 1. But I think they're just trying to keep this force pinned. That's why they're having some of the forces redeploy on the tree line loosely so they can keep those guys there so this force can get right behind them. They're probably going to AT that Vic and then take out the rest of CSF because they've been here for too long. Only because I think these guys are meant to be a distraction force to pull forces off of this position so they can get the VIP in, which I forget. What's the first timestamp for the primary VIP? I'm going to tab out real quick and just check that. Yeah, it's at the 45-minute mark, so 45 plus 8 is 53. So they need to get Falcon into the primary safe house here within the next 5 minutes to get those points. So they might forego that because of hostile forces here. But we're going to start seeing these guys mount up in a few minutes if they're going to go for that plan, because they'll probably just travel up the SSR. Again, I think OPFOR would have benefited from just locking down the MSRs and preventing any forces to escape or any forces to come in, rather than these multiple different assaults at different vectors here, because Blue 4 has been able to repel them. Granted, with heavy casualties, but they've been able to repel them nonetheless. But with this opportunity here, OPFOR's got a really solid shot at eliminating this entire Blue 4 group with this flank attack, because they've got some really good players on this side. They got Ilbanek, the 2IC. We've got Korska and Joda. But the really heavy hitters, Sixor's a heavy hitter. Andre's pretty good, but I thought I saw a few other people. Brewer, for example. Yep, Brewer and Zicky are the two really good ones in there. And Zicky has the AT. And he's got a V, I believe that's not the VL round, that's the VS. But that's an improved AT warhead. And they got Brewer and Joda with M134s. Any one of those could destroy that one vehicle. Otherwise, we're seeing some long-range 50 cal shots as they suppress this one area over here. I think if that Blue 4 group gets wiped, OPFOR is going to be in a good spot to win it. They have pushed a Blue 4 group all the way around. I think they're going to try to go for the UN Consulate position. Because what we could see Blue 4 do is completely forego taking these positions. They could stash Falcon somewhere, and then they could just push all their forces to hold the UN Consulate position, gain those 3 points. As long as Falcon doesn't die, OPFOR can't gain the 5 points from killing him. And then Blue 4 can just gain the 3 points from the Consulate position, not focus on the safe houses, and then still win 3-0. Because OPFOR's only way of scoring points is holding that UN position, killing Falcon, or the Supremacy bonus. So that's a nice adaptation of strategy we're seeing Blue 4 do, which makes these guys a little more expendable in the long run. Oop. They're prepping for transport. They're going to go for it. They're going to go for that. OPFOR is pulling their forces back. They're going to concede that apartment victory instead, going for the wipe right there, and then to hold the secondary positions. Interesting call. Now, I gotta wonder, though, is Blue 4 going to decide to move these forces soon to either go for one of the secondary positions or just hold the UN Consulate position? I think this recon force is going in under the assumption that OPFOR has forces at the UN position. But if I was in OPFOR's shoes, I wouldn't put anyone up. I'd maybe put one guy. Like, I'd have ground command as myself stay there. Maybe with one other dude for the moment just to scout things out. But I'd coordinate from back there just to at least have that position held. Instead, Flip for Flap is in a random building all the way in the back line. But you don't want to invest forces all the way back there too early on. Ooh, this is not good for Blue 4. AAVP in a pullback position as Blue 4 is pulling back in the forest, unaware that OPFOR is in between them. This thing's dead. This thing is literally dead. They have no way of knowing. There's the AT. There it is. Follow-up shot from Brewer. I think they're trying to get to go catastrophic, but yeah, no, this thing... Had gets out. He's on fire, though. More AT going in. Had, yeah. Yeah. Other guy burns alive. Not a good day to be an AAVP driver. Not a good day to be an AAVP driver. Jesus. So with that force multiplier eliminated, the remaining infantry know about this attack. OPFOR sending a few units to confirm its kill. That could potentially allow for this Blue 4 group to get some easy shots, but they need to do some quick maneuvering because it's only going to take OPFOR a few moments. They sent Zicky and Brewer. Two guys that are going to be really, really quick to confirm the kills of this Vic. Yeah, Zicky quickly got in it to pull the body out. I think, no, he didn't go in. He just did the unload wounded command, just to make sure he was dead. Now he's checking that body. Again, Blue 4 has an opportunity to do a small counter-attack, but OPFOR is already looking back in that direction because they realize that the infantry is still somewhere out and about. I think they were hoping that the infantry were mounted in the back of that Vic and they were able to take it out, but instead Blue 4 had them dismounted, which was a very lucky play. All right, completed by Blue 4, so they were able to get him into the primary safe house. Also, that's a mistype that's meant to say 45 minutes, not 40, but by having Blue 4 Falcon in there, the UN Consulate, they were able to score points. So now OP4 knows that the VIP is in that one area. So OP4, we're going to see do a systematic pullback. Might see these guys actually push on foot to try to eliminate this position. Maybe we'll see a small counterattack because they might try to kill Falcon, but I'd say Blue 4 now need to pull Falcon out of this position immediately to not risk him dying, because if OP4 kills him, they get a big amount of points and Blue 4 is not going to be able to bounce back. Yeah, right, Ivno? I still think it's anyone's game, because it's not just about the PvP, it's also the strategy and the points here. I think Blue 4 has a slightly better chance of winning the overall event, but OP4 seems to be doing a little better in some of these ambushes, which is ironic because OP4 lost a lot of dudes in this fight here, but when you look at the overall skull count and what forces are remaining, Blue 4 seems to have less units on the field compared to OP4 in terms of skull counts. So by Blue 4 losing their one force multiplier, this was the deadliest vehicle in play, that's only going to hurt them in the long run. Plus, as I said earlier, OP4 have the better PvPers overall. But with Blue 4 trying to send this 4-man team to secure that UN Consulate position, I think it's going to take them another 10 or 15 minutes to get up there and realize it's taken. We could see Blue 4 just completely bypass the secondary objective and instead plant Falcon in the Consulate position and just hold out there instead for that point victory. And if they're able to secure that one position and hunker it down, look at all the open ground around it that Blue 4 could easily hunker down with by building some entrenchments with their fortify tools. They could easily hold this for the rest of the op. And then stash Falcon in this back room here, for example, and he would pretty much be grenade-proof and rifle-proof and penetration-proof. So they could put him up here. They could also risk putting him up here. That's a bit of a riskier play, but that's also pretty well hidden. I wouldn't put him in here because you can easily penetrate the walls of that shed. Or they could try stash him in the bush. But I feel like Falcon would, he would just hide. There's not a lot of places for him to hide in there, but they could literally just make a fortified perimeter with that wall area. And they'd have a lot of time to do it as well because OP4 is going to focus on holding the secondary positions. They don't seem to have any interest in holding that final position just yet. OP4 also pulling away from this firefight. Instead of trying to clear out the remaining Blue 4 forces, they're going to pull back. I agree with that call. They don't know if those guys have, you know, effed off or done anything. You know, or if they're setting up some sort of counterattack. So if they are next to them, you probably want to get away from this position because when you have this open field next to it, it really limits your ability to pull out of the area. So just pull out and redeploy somewhere else. Take your victory, move on. I agree with that. But we do see OP4 already pulling back to set up on the secondary defensive positions, foregoing the ability to counterattack. We already saw that this transport truck has pulled way back. This probably has Blue 4 leadership and Falcon in it. Yep, that +2 to indicate that Ground Command 2IC and Falcon, the VIP here, have pulled out of this region. So here's how I see this going. Blue 4 is going to regroup. These 4 guys are going to get to the UN position. They're going to report it's clear, and then I think Blue 4 is going to completely bypass secondary positions, lock that position down. I think OP4 is going to spend their time fortifying the secondary objectives and sending scouting teams around, anticipating Blue 4 to take the secondary positions because they feel that they are a little under strength compared to Blue 4. So by dividing their forces and trying to find where Blue 4 is going, they can then pull all their forces around, encircle wherever Blue 4 comes from, and then take them out from there. But I think they're going to completely ignore the UN Consulate position until endgame, which is going to work in Blue 4's favor. So we're probably not going to see another major fight for a little while as mid-game passes by and we get to endgame. But I think in the final battle, OP4 has a lot more heavy hitters than Blue 4, despite it all being open territory. OP4 still have that M134 minigun, Humvee, and that could really turn the tide if it's put somewhere for some good overwatch at close range, like right here, just to suppress the hell out of that position. That can be really, really deadly. As long as the driver's paying attention, though, if he sees an RPG fired, he could just position his Vic to be sideways from that position and look out his window. And if he sees something coming, he could, you know, drive forward to avoid it. But I could see, based off of all these angles, OPFOR still getting close with some of their heavy hitters like Zicky or Zixme. I saw Bob Winchester get kicked off, which was unfortunate, but we still got other players like Sixor to basically get in close and just start eliminating people, because that's what they're good at. And you're seeing OPFOR now pulling their forces back. That is the group with Zicky and Brewer. They're going to one of the secondary positions, but I think it's just going to be completely bypassed here. Blue4 need to find an avenue to pick these guys up since they also lost their Vic. Did all of FAWR die to the 19th? That is a good question. All of FAWR except for Nathan died. They got killed off by one group here. Let me see if I can find them via verifying some of the bodies if they're still on the server. Yeah, so it was these guys, Storm Group 3, that eliminated the half of FAWR here, and then the other half of FAWR got eliminated by a coalition of Storm Group 3. Storm Group 2 was eliminated up on that hill. 1RW came and reinforced, and I'm trying to see who else. There was another group with them. I'm struggling to remember the names. But it was, they fought off a lot of dudes. It was from like 3 different groups that came in on there as well. IBC, Roger. So Blue4 is going to start putting their forces in and reporting that this position is secure. I am willing to bet you're going to start seeing Blue4 mount everything up, collect their people, and drive all the way around to just get to the UN Consulate position. We're going to see the final fight in this position. I'm calling it now. Blue4 has no reason to go for the secondary positions by already getting some points on the board at the apartments. If they can just hold the UN position, they'll be fine. Hell, what you'll probably see is they're not even going to bring Falcon to the UN Consulate position for those final few points. They're going to have Falcon somewhere stashed way outside the map and just hold that one position for the extra 3 points. And then as long as Falcon's alive, OPFOR doesn't score those 5 points, and it's, I think it's going to be GG in Blue4's favor, unless OPFOR is able to take this position, and at that point, they'll probably also get the Supremacy bonus. This is PvP. Every icon you see here is a player. This started off as a 90-man operation. I believe we are down to about 40 to 50 at this moment, because there was a lot of early on fighting. Now, I've got to wonder at what time will OPFOR realize that Blue4 is just completely bypassing them to get to the Consulate position. I believe the next, let me go look at the announcement here. The next ping is at 75 minutes, or excuse me, 70 minutes. So 70 plus 8 would be nearly an hour and a half into the mission. No, that would be at 90 minutes. 78 would be like an hour 13. So there's only another 12 minutes for OPFOR to realize that Blue4 is completely bypassing the secondary objectives. But let me do a quick point tally for you guys. So Blue4 were able to get the primary safe house position for 3 points on the board. And oh, that's interesting. A stolen UN car inside the Consulate position by the end of the game. Did Blue4 start with a UN car? It would be foolish for them to leave it behind, but I think they took all their vehicles in, which is why you saw those 2 guys running up on foot. I can't recall if Blue4 had a Vic in here. Flip has that car, yeah. So that's something that OPFOR would have started with. So Flip probably has that stash somewhere, but that's worth some more points. It's probably this. Yeah, it's got the UN banner on it. So OFCRA will try to deliver that car into the UN position by the end to get those extra points. But OFCRA, if they're able to overpower that UN position, I think they're still going to be able to get 5 points on the board and potentially knock Blue 4 under 5 men to get their supremacy bonus as well. So I think OFCRA is still in the game to win this. The final fight's just going to be at the UN Consulate position. But OFCRA have the number advantage right now. But Blue 4 are going to have a defender's advantage. I really don't know which way this is going to go. I do know for a fact Blue 4 need to pick up their guys and push in there ASAP, though, because they got less than 10 minutes to form up. Now, OFCRA, as soon as... I think they're going to realize maybe, I want to say 5 minutes prior, that Blue 4 isn't going to go for the secondary positions, and instead start rallying within the next 5 minutes to go to the UN Consulate position, which doesn't give a lot of time for Blue 4 to put their forces in and regroup. I'm surprised these guys haven't been ordered to pull back to regroup with a truck yet either, because this seems a little risky because OFCRA were driving around in that position. But in terms of point values right now, Blue 4 have 3 points, OFCRA have 0 points. But that can change in the following ways. If Blue 4 gets Falcon to the secondary safe house positions within the next 10 minutes, they get an additional 2 points, but there's no way that's going to happen. OFCRA are too fortified. Blue 4 is showing no intention of doing that. If Blue 4 gets Falcon to the Consulate position by the end of the game, they gain 3 points, but I don't think Blue 4 is going to do that either, because they said they weren't going to do it in their brief, and that's way too much of a risk because Falcon's death is worth 5 points to OFCRA. Blue 4 can also get an additional 3 points by holding the United Nations Consulate position by the end of the match, which I think is what they're going to shoot for, because without that, they don't have any other way of scoring points, and they only have 3 on the board, and if they concede it to OFCRA, OFCRA is going to at least be able to tie. So they have no choice but to hold that position. And then, of course, the supremacy bonus if they are able to kill 5 or... bring OFCRA down to 5 or less players, but I don't think Blue 4 is going to play for that because they're being on the defensive right now. When you're on the defensive, you aren't playing for a supremacy bonus. You're only playing for that if you are attacking. But usually the supremacy bonus is just an extra afterthought of, hey, if it happens, it happens. It's nothing to rely on. And I take a sip of water here. Thank you, Omp, because I did need that. Now, OFCRA have 4 ways of scoring points here. They get 5 points if they kill Falcon, as I mentioned. So I highly doubt Blue 4 Command is going to send Falcon in here. It's not worth the points. They're actually pulling out of the UN Consulate position. They do have a guy with explosives. They might set up some explosive traps, or they already did, which would be a really, really good call. But I don't know why they're leaving that position. That's a very risky force. I think they're just scouting things out, but why not hold this position to allow Blue 4 to come in? That is showing me that Blue 4 might have something else in mind. They're dismounting. Are they going to try to have OFCRA go in there and then attack? Maybe they set up some explosives? I don't know, but that's really, really weird. I thought Blue 4 would go for trying to hold this position, but I don't see any explosives down. I don't see any traps. They definitely went through this position. You see all these open doors. They were closed. What are they planning? I don't think it's a miscommunication. I think Blue 4 Command has a plan. I want to see what it is. But leaving this position, not sure if that's a good idea. But anyway, other points OFCRA can score. As I already mentioned, they can kill Falcon for 5 points. If they take the UN Consulate position, it is a neutral objective, so whoever holds that position by the end of the game gets 3 points. That is a way OFCRA could get those 3 points to at least tie. OFCRA is going to, at least by the end of the game, have forces trying to take the UN Consulate position. There's no reason that they shouldn't at this point. It would be completely asinine if they did. I feel like I'd still be able to see mines, because if you've seen mines before, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I love mines. I love minefields. One of my favorite types of warfare in Arma is mines. I would recognize where they are. And I doubt OFCRA would allow them to deploy mines that would be unseeable. But there is always a little bit of a disruption. I'm checking those now, but those are just parts of the ground. I was thinking maybe there was some explosives placed somewhere critical, but I don't see those explosives. If you want to take out a building, best way to put explosives down is to open a door. with control space, which is default to open door, scroll wheel it all the way back, and you put the explosive behind the door if you're trying to blow up the building. That will shape the charge, though, so it won't kill people, but bringing down the building usually does damage to everyone in the building, depending on the type of building, or at the very least, takes the building out, which removes an advantage of, you know, the building being there and garrisoned by the enemy anyway. But I don't see anything down, which is weird. I'm going to assume they planted something, but the more I look, the more I realize they might not have actually planted anything. But otherwise, OPFORs can score points. They have a stolen UN vehicle that Flip for Flap has. It is an SUV with a UN flag on it. If they get that into the UN Consulate zone by the end of the game, they get 2 points. So that in the zone and then being held by OPFOR would give them 5 points total, which would put them over Blue 4. And have OPFOR win by the end of the match, excuse me. And then, of course, the supremacy bonus for 2 points. So I don't... Because of that importance of the UN Consulate position, and we just entered endgame, last 30 minutes of the match, I really don't understand why the paramilitary forces left. I think Blue 4 is setting up to move in this position, but they've all dismounted. They're just chilling right here for the moment. I don't know what they're doing. And then you got this group moving on foot into... What? I think they should have been they should have pulled back, gotten picked up by the transport truck, and then driven, and they just should have put Falcon on foot to do maneuvering out here, because it's unlikely for him to be found if he does that. But yep, now you got Blue 4 turning around, potentially going to go back to the United Nations consulate position. I guess they were doing recon and just checking down here to see if they could find OPFOR, but the fog's getting too thick for them to do any far-range recon. So the only reason they wouldn't put explosives at the UN consulate position if they is if they intended on going back. But this is perplexing. It's 3 points? Well, all the better, but again, it just proves my point of the final battle is going to be at this position. At least it should be. We might see another skirmish down here, but that's Blue 4 needlessly throwing people into this fight. Maybe as a feint, but in 3 minutes we're going to see a notification that all the safe houses have been held and the final position is going to be held at the UN consulate. So that's going to let OPFOR defend it. OPFOR have the number superiority, and that's just going to weaken Blue 4's chances of winning. So I feel like Blue 4 should have spent this time maneuvering. Now we're seeing the mounts up, but it's going to be cutting it incredibly close. And now Blue 4 might be pushing their guys over to the right flank to be picked up, but it's too late, in my opinion. OPFOR is going to start getting forces in the UN position. These 4 guys are going to be arriving in another minute, having no time to dig defenses. Oh, this is stressful. It's really leaning to OPFOR right now, because they have the better players, in my opinion. They've got the number advantage right now. And Blue 4 is going to scramble in to make a last-minute defense where they could have had more time to do it because they had plenty of time for recon to go down and say, hey, it's clear. I think the only reason that they might have held is thinking OPFOR had forces over here, but if they thought that, they should have just sent one vehicle up to scout ahead instead, and only given them, like, you know, one driver, maybe one driver and a gunner at least, to, you know, just do a quick drive-by around where they think there's an enemy fortification. It's 7 minutes? If it's at the 70-minute mark, then that's an... you're right. You're right. I was thinking it was an hour 12. No, it's an hour 15 plus 8, which is an hour and 23 minutes. So you're right. There's still 11 minutes on the clock, so Blue 4 still has time to set up. You are absolutely right. Thank you for correcting me on that. I thought it was much closer. But even then, at some point within the next few minutes, OPFOR needs to realize that Blue 4 is not going for any of the secondary positions. Otherwise, something would have happened by now. And I just want to state, as a reminder, both sides have entrenching tools. They can dig their own fortifications around the consulate position and give themselves cover, which would give them a significant advantage against forces pushing that have to push either from some of the few rocks and trees in here, but otherwise, you know, going through these massive open areas that could easily be locked down. Plus, there's a perimeter fence covering most of it, and then leaving big open areas for you to also dig fortifications. So, tough call. Yeah, so now we're seeing Blue 4 pulling over to the right, I think with the intention of being picked up by something. But they're going to probably try to give Chinatown a wide berth here. Fucking China. That's funny that it's Chinatown because they're using the frickin' RPKL huts. Oh, it's a little racist, but okay. They don't have recon drones, but they do have Hunt IR rounds, which are a 40mm grenade-launched round that is actually a camera with a small parachute. Ivno saying, did the drone crash in early game? I was unaware there was a drone, and I did not see a drone deployed. So unless it was the Raven drone, I did not see a drone deployed at all in this game. If it was a Raven drone, I wouldn't be able to see it on the map because there's how it's scripted. There's no way for me to see it. They had a drone operator slot. I didn't see any individual slots other than ground commands for both sides. Having 2 players and then Falcon as the individual guy. Everything else was a squad-sized element. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was deployed. I think a drone... Was it for Blue 4 or Op 4? Both sides could have really utilized a drone for just figuring out which position the enemy force was going to. Yeah, Blue 4 could have used it to really scout out positions on the secondary and then the United Consulate position. If it's a standard darter drone, it would have only had a 30-minute battery life for Ace, so if they had spare UAV batteries, that would have been even more beneficial. But for a 30-minute scouting of the secondary and final position at mid-game, after the primary positions were done, I think that would have been the best bet to use it, because primary, it was kind of an even split of Blue 4 and Op 4 arriving at the same time, so as long as you rushed it, you were okay. But yeah, for the secondary and final position, I think that would have been your best bet, just to scout things out and see everything. Feng Huan, I don't recognize that name for a UAV, but a UAV, it means it's an aerial vehicle, because the A within UAV. So, probably a darter. Maybe, no, if it's Blue 4, it wouldn't be the Taiyan, which is the CSAT version of the darter. Probably a Pelican drone instead of a darter, actually, for that limited magnification and no thermal or NVG optics. But still, eye in the sky would be useful nonetheless. Yep, so Blue 4, we see them closing the gap to get into that consulate position. 7 minutes left before that notification comes about. Secondary's not being taken. We're probably going to see Falcon dropped off somewhere around here, and then I'd be willing to bet that transport truck's going to go down, pick those guys up, and move them up. But we are going to see a fortification done at the consulate. But again, why are you on the outskirts refusing to push in? Maybe they think they're fearful of Op 4 pushing in with such a massive force, knowing that they can't hold it with 4 people, so they're waiting for reinforcements to come in to then take that position. That's the only thing I can think of why they're not going in right now. Well, so you have UAV... I think if I remember the definition, it's unmanned aerial vehicle, because you also have UGVs, which are unmanned ground vehicles. So it's a UAV and a UGV, because the A stands for air and the G stands for ground, if you want the official definitions. So, but no, yeah, so you get the autonomous part from the U part, the unmanned part, not the not that part of the definition. But clever way to look at it, but it's unfortunately wrong. Geez, the first time I dealt with UAVs was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. And then you saw them in Call of Duty, too. But that's because that's how I know the definition of that, because they talked about it a lot in Raw, too. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. God, I wish they'd make another game like that. We're never going to see another GRAW-style game because of how they treat the Ghost Recon series nowadays for open-world shit shows, but I would kill for at least a remaster of Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. Specifically Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2. One of my favorites. But at least we're getting Homeworld 3 soon, which I only hope is good, and more like Homeworld 1 rather than Homeworld 2, but we'll see. I got my own opinions for that, and I'd love to see the Beast come back as a DLC, because I know for a fact it's not going to be back in the primary game, but the setup is so high. There you go, 20 minutes left on the clock. The 75-minute timer has passed. I think, again, that time is wrong, because the previous time was wrong. They gave 5 extra minutes. So now OPFOR has to realize that Blue 4 is going for the Consulate position. Because where would Blue 4 have spent those 30 minutes, if anywhere else? And OPFOR hasn't properly gone and reconned it out yet. So now we're going to see a race for that position. So I don't get why Blue 4 is staying outside of the Consulate position right now. And why they're not trying to go in and take it. Because this is allowing for OPFOR to just go in there and take that position and potentially lock it down. So I really don't know. Maybe Blue 4 knows they're undermanned and they think OPFOR is overmanned, so they don't want to risk it. But in any case, the only way they're going to win is to risk it, because otherwise they'll tie or lose. I'd love a proper Star Wars Battlefront 2 remaster, but you're not going to get it, Roar. I'm sorry to say. EA's already done that with DICE. They're not gonna do it. I'd love a Republic Commando, either remaster or Republic Commando 2, which was going to be Imperial Commandos, but that could still potentially happen in a few years, but unlikely. Honestly, these days it sucks to be a gamer, because all of the really fun, inspirational things from way back when are now just, corporations trying to turn games into experiences that they can monetize every moment of, which is also why I kind of like Arma 3, because you can do whatever you want in this damn thing. And, not have to worry about greedy corporations trying to monetize every little thing. Now, there is a little bit of pushing around with some of the CDLCs, but, CDLCs like SOG Prairie Fire, not to shill, are pretty worth it, in my opinion. But here we go. OPFOR sending forces in. They're going to take this position. I assume that Blue 4 has explosive traps in here, because there's no other reason they shouldn't be in here to at least hold. Because now Blue 4 is coming in. It's an ambush. So they knocked out one guy, killed another. They're forcing these guys to pull back. This is lucky. This is really, really lucky. Because they either assumed that OPFOR would dismount and then push in, rather than pushing right in thinking it was taken, which I guess makes sense because OPFOR would predict that Blue 4 was in there. But there were other ways OPFOR could have approached this compound that were out of the line of sight of this Blue 4 group. For example, if they came up in this direction. So this is just purely lucky to work in Blue 4's favor. Now Blue 4 is going to get a major amount of their forces in and then start this fight as OPFOR starts trickling in, but nah, this is luck. Don't get me wrong, a great capitalization of the situation. Don't get me wrong, but luck. Yes, OFCRA only does a single round with a bonus round for Thursdays. I never cover the bonus round, though, because I usually, have to start up on other things, unfortunately. But they also have Tuesday rounds where it's only like a 10-minute round, but they do like 5 of them, and they're really, really fun. They do really memey things like snowball fights, which I cover one of those every, I want to say, 4 to 6 months. Just like, 5 or 6 crazy rounds. That was also where Falcon got an Eddie drone and killed like 5 people with it, with the Pelter version of it, with the shotgun. They're pretty fun in my opinion. But they do those every Tuesday. I only cover one every once in a while. Navno, I think you are allowed to stream it if you want to. I just don't stream it because I'm usually out of here, because Thursdays are really busy days for me. I got 2 other streams to prep for, including usually a Zoosop within TSB, but, or excuse me, Pog, my bad. And then some other stuff, but let's see. Blue 4 also getting another lucky ambush here, firing at a vehicle in here, which has the 2 IC. Not sure if they got any casualties. That's at least going to delay this one vehicle. Will they potentially dismount to engage? Nope, they're just orientating themselves. So OPFOR, instead of going for a unified attack, are doing a lot of... I'm going to be honest, they're not coordinating this at all. I think Flip just ordered OPFOR to go into this group. They've got forces pushing in a bunch of different directions right now. but things seem a little lost at the moment as a lot of individual groups start trickling in, and that is going to play in Blue 4's favor because now they can defeat those groups in detail. Even though Op 4 has the superior force, if they come in small groups, that changes the number advantage into Blue 4's favor per those individual firefights, and then Blue 4 will be able to systematically take out those smaller groups one at a time. That is how you defeat a force in detail. That's the definition, at least. So Op 4 is just playing this in Blue 4's hands. If they were to regroup, which I hoped they would have been able to sweep this. But now Blue 4 are going to do a systematic defense of just holding the outskirts of the actual position instead of the actual position itself. So they're optimally choosing positions where there's a good bit of cover, good bit of concealment, with a bunch of open areas around it, trying to bait Op 4 into going into the position itself so they can ambush, intercept and eliminate those groups before they're able to get into the actual zone. So Foosh just got picked off by a great long-range shot from that group. However, it is important to note that if Blue 4 doesn't send anyone into this zone by the end of the round and Rizbo is still alive in this zone, Rizbo will get the 3 points for Op 4, and it'll turn into a tie game. So at some point, Blue 4 is going to have to push forces into here. Op 4 also dismounting forces. They are going to go for that outlying group as well. And you got another group driving right up to where this Blue 4 group is. This means, okay, so this shows me that they did not coordinate that Blue 4 ambush team was there, because if they drive right into them, we could see some AT pulled out and hit this one group. But they're going to get, if they dismount here, they're going to get ambushed the same way the other group did, which means that other group wasn't able to tell them. Oh, this defeat in detail is going to be brutal. I don't see any AT here on this Blue 4 group, but you're hearing them reloading fresh mags. Looks like they just have enough defilade to get away from this Blue 4 ambush, but could see an ambush right here as well, and then that force coming in flank. Oh, Op 4, they have more forces to send in, but again, by this defeat in detail, it's gonna be bad. CSF have some guys in the open. They're getting picked off by Op 4 doing this big group around here. We just saw an AT shot fired and eliminating their vehicle, which, in my opinion, I think is the best thing this Blue 4 group could have done regardless of how this firefight went, because at least they deny Op 4 the ability to quickly then mobilize into this AO so the remaining Blue 4 groups can keep defeating those Op 4 groups in detail. All right, someone was just double tapped. CSF are down to 4 guys. These two can try to push up, but they're going to be countered by Ziki and Koska, who are really good at these flank attacks. So again, I think Op 4 is going to win this fight here decisively, but because they lost their transport, they're probably going to spend a few minutes trying to find Blue 4's transport big, which is going to slow them down even more, and then they're going to have to run in, but by then, I think Blue 4 is going to have that position just purely locked down. It's a smoke GL round. I don't think he meant to fire that. They're down to 3. Nope, they're down to 1 because Ziki and Koska cleaned house right there. We're down to 12 minutes. I think they might plan to rush in Falcon last second in this Vic to get the final points in here on top of that. But, they still need to have forces directly in the compound itself, which I think they're waiting to defeat these other groups before they push them in. Another suppressed shot going through, taking out Monolix. He could still wake back up. But I think that's Ezio. Ezio has been cleaning house. Again, he has a freaking MGO suppression sight meant for machine guns, and he's using that as a marksman sight to kill people. It's ridiculous how he's able to make that work. So as I predicted, this group was going to slow down this force. They're still able to get in here. But that's exactly what Blue 4 wants, so they can then surround and eliminate this force and take it by the end. AT fired. It was a miss, though. So Rizbo quickly dropping to his feet, dropping that round. Looks like he backblasted himself a little bit or potentially got shot. But I think if he was shot, he would have probably been taken out, to be honest. Benares has AT ready in case there was a vehicle rush in. Benares, what are you shooting at? Benares! I love you, buddy, but what are you doing? They took the silencer from the FAL and put it on the SCAR. Yeah, by... I'm going to be honest, taking some parts of kits and then making really deadly weapons out of those parts to give your marksman a suppressed weapon, I think is a good call. Then a range magnified scope that was probably on a machine gun. Again, great call. We have less than 10 minutes now officially. OPFOR is in a lot of different components right here. Again, they outnumber Blue 4 almost on a factor of 2 to 1, but because Blue 4 has been able to defeat OPFOR in detail, because OPFOR keeps sending small groups into what remains of Blue 4's major force, they're just... Flip, you're killing me with this plan, buddy. Especially since, logically, if Blue 4 wasn't, you had 25 minutes to figure this out, that Blue 4 was probably going to bypass the secondary positions because there was no point of contact at the secondary positions. He should have spent 5 of those 15 minutes regrouping his force and then just push them all to deploy on a massive battle line with the center of the battle line going into the position and the 2 sides of the battle line flanking, and he would have been able to completely overwhelm the remaining Blue 4 defense force, especially since he had so many good heavy hitters on his side. But because he's trickling them all in... Oh, man, he's got 9 minutes. I could see these 2 groups getting in time. I could see this group getting in on time because it looks like they have another vehicle. It's gonna be close. With that vehicle here, that's gonna give them 6 minutes or so with some heavy hitters like Ziki and Ilbanek to flank this group here. They could still do it. Don't get me wrong, they could still do it. But at this point, they need to understand that... nah. I mean, if there was such thing as perfect communication in PvP, OPFOR would be able to relay that Blue 4 is not in the zone itself, they're outside of the zone. Which, if Flip is thinking about it, that means that Blue 4 isn't really playing to win right now in a traditional sense. Let me reword what I just said. They're playing basically to rush in the VIP last minute by not having a force here directly. So what OPFOR should be doing is focusing on just surrounding this position to prevent that rush of the VIP. Great pick-off by Roland's Vic here. Roland being the gunner. I don't know who his driver is. There it is. It's Ezio. Which... No, it's Callie. My bad. I misread the symbol there. Now I gotta wonder where this Vic is going. Maybe they think either they got lost or they think maybe the VIP's over here because they have the their forces right here. So the safest bet to bring in the VIP would be behind that force. So they're either really, really smart in identifying that the force outside of the position means that the VIP is going to be around this area. Which, in my opinion, if they have that information, is a very good logic call. They just got the engine to glide right in. Oh my god. Blue 4 is going to drive like a bat out of hell at this point. What a prediction that OPFOR was just able to make right there. They're going to do a quick dismount, but Blue 4 is going to book it because that's the VIP. Again, I think that was a really good prediction on OPFOR because logically it makes sense. If Blue 4 is fortifying a direction outside of the compound, then it would be logical to assume that behind that Blue 4 position is the VIP. The only position that then makes sense for that VIP to be is the closest tree line where they could stash him, close enough to rush him in, but far enough away from the actual fight. Again, that is why I like members like Ziki and Ilbanek, because that shows their line of thinking. They will literally outthink you by 5 steps and be able to figure out places like these, and that's why I love seeing the tactics of OFCRA, because that is how they think on a week-to-week basis. It's amazing what they're able to come up with and how they're able to counter each other. It is literally a game of chess in OFCRA. You still see it in Friday Night Fights, don't get me wrong, but very, very big brain plays. Benares, let's see if he can redeem himself for that AT. He gets 1 kill. Throws a grenade. That is going to screw Alex over. Alex, I think, just saw the grenade. Tries to run to the other corner. No! He does not. Gets a little closer, cripples himself. Benares now breaching. Can he get the kill on Alex? He does. Oh, Alex trying to throw a grenade right there. Benares doesn't notice. Oh, it was Barros that ran in there, so Benares might have noticed. But now Blue 4 taking this position, I think fueled by the fact that they got spooked by Blue 4 coming in. They have 5 minutes remaining. That Vic is now going to be driving on the outskirts, trying to still stay away from the battle, but look at how few forces Blue 4 has. Oh, I didn't see the other force portion. Never mind. They still have a good chunk of their force remaining, and there's less than 5 minutes on the game clock. So they're going to literally rush in Falcon last minute, but they are spooked right now because of that Op4 team. So I think Op4 is now going to be able to call up and say, hey, that was the VIP. VIP is in this type of vehicle. So let's see if these guys hearing that vehicle, they should have Settler getting up with his AT right now. They should really be focusing on trying to ambush that Vic if they hear it. Because logically, what else would that vehicle have? There's nothing else logically that it should have, but let's see if Op4 tries to rush an AT guy up there. Because if they kill Falcon, Op4 wins. Actually, no. Blue 4 would get the 3 points for delivering Falcon to that spot. They'd hold this one position. They'd get 6 points to Falcon dying at 5 points. So they'd still have to take this position, but that would at least much more how do I word it? That would at least almost guarantee Op4's victory if they're able to take this spot. AT going off, killing that one Vic. I'm really surprised after that first gunshot the driver didn't start driving. And that just cost Blue 4 a pretty heavy force multiplier, but I think this group called in that they heard a vehicle over here, so now you got this vehicle driving around. They spotted this one truck. AT going. Tanked by the Vic. Look at that damage texture change. It was a weak hit. Now is that gas going to be able to intercept? They dismount. Blue 4 driving right into him. Where is that AT? Holy shit. Joza getting his AT out real quick. What the hell is being fired by Op4 there? VIP having no choice but to push in. Blue 4 doubling down for the last 2 minutes to get Falcon in and start having him run around. There's the VIP. He's running around, triple timing into that compound. What the? What is Seal firing? What? What are you firing, sir? Because according to my notifications, you're firing grenades. He's firing a grenade machine gun. But, like, actual grenades. Because it's giving the grenade notification. Meanwhile, you have Cthulhu here trying to hold against this 4-man Blue 4 group that was doing some great Overwatch earlier. He gets taken out by a GL. Okay, you see that? What is he firing? What is he firing at Cali? Oh, we'll never know because he just got taken out by a suppressed headshot by Ezio with that freaking MGO sight. I still can't believe he's using that to get accurate headshots. And he's still going for more. He's trying to take out Kuksa. Now you got Op4 trying to push in the UN vehicle. They could still slide in for a few points last minute, but Benares and Rick Hunter doing a quick trade right there. We'll see if either of them wake up, but Op4 about to be on top to potentially double tap Benares' position. But at this point, with the amount of time remaining, all you can go for is taking people out. Op4 tried to push in there to take Falcon out, and a nice risk. What the hell just happened? Flip for Flap has exploded. How did Flip for Flap just explode with the UN vehicle? That denies Op4 2 points. I don't know how that just happened. You're hearing more explosions going off. What is going on? That's not Arma. That thing is literally spawning GBUs. Why is it spawning GBUs? What was that? It's still spawning more GBUs. It's literally spawning bombs. I'm gonna go cover the PvP again. Op4 pushing in more, but Blue 4 has successfully defeated Op4 in detail because Op4 pushed with too many small groups. And now people are just pushing in for every unit. Now that Blue 4 has a numbers advantage, if they keep trading 1-to-1, they are fine. But yeah, you're seeing those. Oh my God. Scripting gone wrong. I don't know if that was supposed to be intentional or not. Maybe to blow up the UN consulate position with that stolen vehicle. I think it went off a little prematurely, but we're at the 138-minute mark. It's going to be GG any second. There it is. Blue 4 won. 8 points to no points. My God. But look at that. It still went 8-8. It was still even. But Blue 4 successfully did a defeat in detail there, and it was just... Ay. Good game. But it just went to show that superior tactics won at the end. And yeah, that was it. That was a pretty stressful one. So small point turnout there, but it was dead center on both sides, 15.9 to 15.9. Now they're going to do a secondary bonus mission. I will not be covering it, though, but feel free to do !multi to watch the bonus round. I just don't cover it because I have to now set up for some other stuff to stream later today. So we will have an 8 p.m. stream where I'll be Zeusing a nice VR hack the server style mission of everything glitching out, and then 10 p.m. we might play the TMTM operation. And then if I don't feel like playing that, I will guarantee I'll at least be streaming something else, probably some dev stuff. Or after the TMTM stream, I might do a dev stream right after. But anyway, that is going to be it for this stream. Thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Hopefully I'll catch you in a little under 3 hours. But otherwise, cheers and have a good one.